Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here, physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally, and I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in the various groups from around the world subsequently. Cut the echo down. Today, we continue our discourse on oneness. And I want to state that today, what's the date today? 27th June 2021. If you peruse through the philosophies that are inherent in Sanatan Dharma, and if you peruse to the various religions outside of Sanatan Dharma, namely the Abrahamic religion, then there is great distress. If you look within Sanatan Dharma itself, the philosophies of Advaita, Dvaita, there is great conflict, contradiction, and misunderstanding, and the followers of these philosophies are at war with each other. And then you look at the Abrahamic religions, namely Islam, Christianity, you will find, and Judaism, you will find each of these religions trying to be superior than the next. I'm hesitating because I want to find the right words. I do not want to harm anyone in this discourse, as this discourse is on oneness. So I have to choose the right words so that I do not offend anyone. However, this information is at your fingertips. You can Google and you can go into these various religious groups and you'll find that both that which is listed in Sanatan Dharma as the six or three main philosophies, six schools of thought, you'll find that there is great contradiction. So I myself am an insignificant particle. However, through the grace of the tradition that I belong in, graced by my own spiritual master, and ultimately the Supreme Lord Himself, I want to endeavor to show that there is a unifying principle behind religion, which is spiritual, but unnoticed and not respected. And it is for this reason there is infighting within the Abrahamic religions as a collective and Sanatan Dharma as a collective. Then if you delve deeper into these specific religions themselves, you'll find within the umbrella of one religion there are many subdivisions. And each subdivision that is within wants to be superior to the other subdivision. This is now in total contradiction and the essence of the Supreme Lord is tattered and torn and shredded into pieces. Each religion claiming one piece of the Lord and claiming that piece to be the whole Supreme Lord itself. So I have no estimate when this series of discourses will end. But it will be our endeavor to reveal the absolute truth without compromise, so that "20 years later, when our children of all religious denomination, when they surf the internet, they will be graced by that one unifying principle." So I'm going to break this down into its simplest form. Although universes in this cosmos is infinite, I want to discuss this universe that we are living in. The word uni means one. Universal means contained within this universe, and it applies to all. Universal means it is contained within this universe and it applies to all. So in our quest to derive the absolute truth, we have to traverse back in time. And we have to find knowledge that synthesizes oneness. That synthesizes oneness, and we have to find a constitution that belongs to every living entity. We have to traverse into the past and we have to locate a constitution that is constituted to comprehensively deal with every living entity. And when one goes back to the oldest form of knowledge, and I want you to understand this carefully. When I say oldest form of knowledge, I do not mean the first written knowledge. There is a great or a huge difference in the oldest form of knowledge and the first written knowledge. Are you understanding? The oldest form of knowledge was transmitted orally. This form of knowledge, dating back to 5,000 years ago, was brought into being in writing. Again, I stated last week that I am born in a Western world. My mother tongue is English. So I'm going to use the English translation and English words to describe this knowledge. So this knowledge that predates all other knowledge, we will call eternal knowledge. We will call eternal knowledge. This knowledge predates all other knowledge. In this category of knowledge, there are various subdivisions. I am going to, for the introduction series of talks, going to deal with two aspects from this eternal knowledge: the Creator and creation. The Creator and creation. When we are discussing the Supreme Lord, what does the word supreme mean? Highest in title. Highest in title, it means that this supreme entity must be infinite. It means this supreme entity called the Supreme Lord must be infinite. He must be infinite in form. What does that mean? The various forms that he takes, we cannot limit it to a number. The various forms that the Lord takes cannot be limited to a number. Once you limit the Lord, then he loses his absoluteness. The Supreme Lord has to be absolute. For him to be absolute, all his forms has to be infinite. Is there an understanding on this aspect? Do you understand what I'm saying? The form of the Lord cannot be counted or even thought of. We have one form of the Lord present in front of us, don't we? But we cannot limit him to that one form. We cannot limit him to one form. Are you understanding? Then we're saying that the Lord must be the essence of all knowledge. The Lord must be the essence of all, ALL in capital, bold and underlined. The Supreme Lord must be the essence of all knowledge. If there's any knowledge missing on the part of the Lord, then the Lord cannot be absolute. So the Lord must be an all-knower. So we have to find this injunction that the Lord must be the essence of all knowledge. The Lord must be all-knower. We have to find this knowledge in the eternal constitution. This knowledge must be found somewhere. Then the power of the Lord must be infinite. The power of the Lord must be infinite, which means that after creating this universe must be an insignificant part of the Lord. Yes or no? And we must find this knowledge somewhere. When we go delving into the constitution, the eternal constitution, this knowledge must be there. That this universe must be an insignificant part of the Supreme Lord. Because if it becomes a significant part of the Lord, then he is limited only to this universe. And we are saying that the Lord is limitless. Are you understanding? Then we are saying that the Lord cannot be apprehended by this eye, and the Lord cannot be comprehended by this mind. Lord cannot be apprehended by this eye and cannot be comprehended by this mind. Because this eye has a limit. This eye has a limit. Yes or no? Does this mind have a limit? Because you can only think. Mind is used for thinking. You can only think to a limit, and you can see to a limit. If the Supreme Lord is limitless, how can you see him through an organ that has a limit? If the Lord is limitless, how can you see him with an organ that is limited? Are you understanding? If the Lord is limitless, how can you perceive Him through the instrument of the mind which has a limit? The eye is to see within limit. The function of the eye is to see within limitations. Jeba, can you see what is happening in Australia at the moment?
About the COVID?
No, can you see
No.
Australia as a country, like a satellite, and tell me what's happening there? Can your eye hover along on Australia? Australia is one insignificant continent in this entire universe, yes or no?
Yes.
One insignificant continent in this entire universe. Your eye cannot see from here what's happening in Australia. Then how are you going to see the Supreme Lord, who is limitless and beyond the scope of sight and perception? Now this information we must find some way. We must find this information if we delve into the past right up to creation. So we must find a constitution that takes us step by step. We must find a constitution that takes us step by step, explaining creation and explaining who the Creator is. Yes or no? Because if you scientifically, and I'm saying that the Supreme Lord is the supreme scientist. The Supreme Lord is the supreme scientist. All sciences emanate from Him. All sciences emanate from Him. Why? Why should all sciences emanate from the Supreme Lord?
It's a source of knowledge.
Not only knowledge. He created this universe. So if He created this universe, He created it out of one particle. He created it out of one particle. From that particle, we now have all of you sitting in front of me. Yes or no? Before that particle existed in a neutral state. That particle existed in a neutral state. When that particle was agitated through the potency of the Supreme Lord, through various permutations, this universe evolved. Yes or no? Yes or no? So let us look. If we say the Lord is the source of all sciences, does physical science exist in this universe? The law of physics, does it exist in this universe? If you reverse the process of creation, what should happen? Go back to that particle. So if the Lord gave impetus for that particle to become a universe, and if you reverse the process, when everything goes back, it goes back to that particle. Yes or no? So when that particle is existing as a particle, is the law of physics prevalent in it? In a subtle form. In a subtle form. But I want to discuss the law of physics in its dynamic form, which we are experiencing currently. Are you understanding? So the Creator who gave impetus to this creation also gave impetus to the law of physics. Yes or no? You are sitting here as the Lord's greatest technology. There is no technology greater than you, Vasudeva. There is no technology greater than the human technology. The Lord has created 8.4 million species of technology. And the greatest technology that the Lord has created, which man can never create, is the humankind. The humankind. Is this not the Lord's greatest technology? You are a witness to it. Extract humans from this planet Earth. In your mind, extract humankind from this planet Earth. What will you see? Remember during lockdown 5, when we were like animals, what you saw? When we were locked up like animals during lockdown, what did you see around the world? You only saw animals roaming everywhere. Birds, all types of animals moving in perfect and absolute synthesis according to the ecosystem. This technology called the humankind has interfered with the ecosystem. Yes or no? This technology has created whatever you see around you. This technology called the human has created everything. Can there be a greater technology than the human? The human has created the bomb, the submarine, the aeroplane, your microwave. What has this human technology not created? And what is this human technology going to create in the next 10 years? Look at WhatsApp, look at Facebook, look at Google, look at Twitter. Is this not great advancement in technology? But who is the proprietor of this technology? But we hear humans saying technology is superseding mankind. Don't we hear humans saying that? Yes, this is a donkey mentality. This is the donkey mentality. There is no technology greater than the human. There can never be. And the greatest technology is the Supreme Lord, because He is the creator of the human who has created this technology. So the greatest scientist and the supreme scientist is who? The Lord, indirectly through the human, has created all this that you find on this planet Earth now. Yes or no? This Lord must be found in the Constitution or eternal Constitution, or when we go back, we're looking for this Lord. We must find this Lord who, through technology, has created for whatever exists in this world today. Yes or no? Can you see any name of this Lord or any religion to this Lord that I am discussing? Are you understanding? This Lord that we're going to find and this constitution that we are searching for, this Lord and the constitution must not have a branding. This Lord and this constitution must not have a branding. And Mama, I ask you to put your hands up and remind me that I must whack you. Then I said, if Mama forgets to put his hand up and remind me that I must whack him, Dana must put his hand up and remind me that I must whack Mama. And I'll give you a reason why. So when I sit in my kutir, and if those of you that come before 25 past, from quarter past to 25 past, I'll be sitting at my window and I watch cars coming down. And last week I read a number plate, I'm styling. But I said I'll see this person in satsang. So when I looked in satsang, I didn't see anyone styling, and I forgot about it. This week, I see a car coming down, I'm styling. So I'm expecting to see someone like Shawan's age, brand new devotee, coming to satsang, styled hair, styled dressing, and I see ancient Mama jumping out of this car. Alright? Then the previous 2 weeks, Mama again. I see a new Ranger parked in the bottom, Range Rover. New Range Rover parked in the bottom. I come and see all familiar faces. Then I'm thinking, who's this new devotee? Then I made some inquiries and I was misled by one of my devotees. Then I said, okay, he's hiding, he's trying to peep at me. Then I made further inquiries and I looked and I stood there at my window and I see same Mama jumping out of a Range Rover. Okay, alright? So you're not going to find a number plate stamped by God, I'm styling. I am Islam, I am Hindu, I am Buddhist, I am Christian, I am Jewish. You're not going to find this unifying principle called the Supreme Lord categorizing himself in a sectarian religion. Otherwise he'll lose his absoluteness. As soon as the Supreme Lord becomes sectarian, he loses his absoluteness. All of you understand? All of you understand? So again I'm saying this topic is sensitive, but it has to be discussed. Otherwise in the next 20 years, social media is at everyone's fingertips. There is going to be mayhem and chaos. All of you understand? So God cannot be sectarian. God cannot be sectarian. Now we have to delve because we, as I've stated the previous week, when we're running this series of discourses, we have to provide evidence. Evidence will be provided through that constitution that I'm saying we're going to find in the At creation there has to be a constitution. Is it logical? If you buy a microwave, when it comes in the box, will you find a manual describing that microwave? We are man, as I explained, our mind has limitations. If within our limitations when we create something, we create it through a manual, then don't you think the Supreme Lord, who is limitless, if He has to create, don't you think He Himself will provide a manual? This manual and the knowledge contained in this manual and the knowledge which is the essence of the Lord, must it have limitations to fit from cover to cover, or must this knowledge be infinite? Dave, he wasn't here for Father's Day. Dave, must this knowledge be found from cover to cover, or must this knowledge be infinite? Because if this knowledge is only restricted to cover, then the Lord loses His absoluteness. Then there'll be another Lord who is higher than Him. Yes or no? Are you all understanding this discourse and the purpose of this discourse? At all times in this constitution, this Lord must not belong. This Lord must not belong or be biased to any caste, any creed, or any religion. This Lord must not be biased to any caste, any creed, or any religion. Because as soon as a Lord is biased, he loses his absolute. Yes or no? So we need to find this constitution where this Lord claims no religious identity. We need to find a constitution which is eternal, in which this Lord claims no religious identity. This knowledge of this constitution must have the potency of the Supreme Lord as its essence. This knowledge of this eternal constitution must have the potency of the Supreme Lord as its essence. It means this knowledge must have power to reveal itself. This knowledge must have power to reveal itself. Like the function of your eye. What is the function of your eye? Jaibai? To see who? Turn left. Jaibai? To see who? Or to see what?
Well, see what you want to look at.
Jaibai always gets a trick question. Jaibai? Guru is always giving you a trick question. Alright? So the function of the eye is to see. It does not need a sub-agent. Does the eye need a sub-agent to see? Its function is to see. It has power to see. Eye has power to see. Jai? Yeah, otherwise you won't be sitting next to a powerful woman next to you. If you didn't see the woman, then she couldn't be sitting next to you, Jai. Again, trick question. Alright? But if you remove the light, although the eye has the power to see, the darkness cannot enable it to see. The darkness cannot power the eye to see. Only the light can power the eye to see. Are you understanding? So the function of the eye is to see, and the eye has power to see provided there is light. But it does not need a sub-agent to make it see. It does not need another apparatus to make it see. It can see because it has the power on its own. Similarly, the Vedas has the power of its own to reveal itself, but one must know the words of this knowledge, the words of this eternal constitution and its relationship denoting action and entities. One must know the relationship between the words of this eternal knowledge and its relationship with the actions or entities denoting it, and the actions and entities denoted by it. A bit difficult? Bit difficult? Vedas do not need a sub-agent. Vedas do not need a sub-agent. It has capacity to reveal itself. The Vedas is the eternal knowledge which can reveal itself. Like the eye, it needs no sub-agent. And like the darkness, the eye cannot see through darkness, this knowledge does not reveal itself to those that are in ignorance. You have to remove the veil of ignorance for this knowledge through itself to reveal itself to you. Do you understand? So we need to look for this injunction. We have to look for these scriptures. This scripture must not have the blemish of discrimination against any living entity, and it must not have the blemish of discrimination, especially amongst humans. Because if this knowledge has a blemish that discriminates against human, then this knowledge is not absolute. And there can be no unification. There can be no unification. So I want you to think carefully, because I'm going to be dealing with creation. I'm going to be dealing with the created, and I'm going to be dealing with the creator. Okay? But we're going to do it with hand in glove with what material science know as of today. With what material science know as of today. I'm also going to reveal to you that the greatest material scientists that made all of these discoveries have been well versed with the celestial song. What is another name for the celestial song of the Supreme Lord? Bhagavad Gita. But we're using English words. The Guru is English, his mother tongue is English, but we're going to find our transcribers at the bottom of your transcribing, where Guru said celestial song, you write there celestial song is equal to Bhagavad Gita. In the mainstream, I do not want to go into Sanskrit because I don't want to distract the mind. I want this discourse to be understood in the language of English. All of you understand? In the language of English, so that it is unifying. If I go into Vedic terminology, then I'm kicking your mind out of where I need to take your mind. All of you understand? And not you mostly, but when this discourse is posted and published later in the years, depending on this power of my disciples. All right? Depending on the power of my disciples. So I want you to take your mind to the smallest insect that you know, that you see. Not microscopic, that you can see. Is the ant. All right? Then you go to a human, because that's the highest you can see. You cannot see in the heavenly planets. There are other divinities, but I want to be practical and scientific for our purposes of these discourses. All right? So from Dhana down to the ant, what is the unifying principle that keeps both Dhana and the ant alive? So Dhana derives cosmic energy into his system through respiration. The ant derives cosmic energy through its system through respiration. Unifying Dhana's existence and the ant's existence, we have one unifying principle called respiration. Yes or no? Going up from the ant right up to Dhana. All the species, 8.4 million species, respiration is a unifying common thread. It's found in Dhana, it's found in the ant. And the partner for this respiration, who is the partner for this respiration? Sorry? No. Trees, plants, shrubs. So you give out carbon dioxide, the trees, plants and shrubs absorb it through a unifying process called photosynthesis and gives off oxygen. That oxygen is taken by you. So your one lung is in you, your other lung is in the tree. You understand? Can you see all these unifying principles? Why you think the Creator created diversity, but the existence of the diversity is on unification? You think the Creator had a plan when He created? And look at the diversity, 8.4 million species, all existing through one energy called the cosmic energy. What would be His reason?
Teaches us to coexist.
Unity in?
Diversity.
Don't you think that would be the Lord's aim? The Lord does not do anything if 1 + 1 is not equal to 2. When the Lord created apples, how many types of apples are there? Meena, I want you to go to YouTube and only listen to the Guru's discourses. What you must do? Yes, so next week discourse, I want to know how many types of pears there are, how many types of apples there are, how many types of bananas there are. Before you go, bananas. If you don't listen to the Guru's discourses, you'll be gone, bananas. At the moment you are three-quarter bananas. You listening, Meena? Before you go 4/4 bananas, go to the Guru's discourses, listen to what the Guru is saying, and also do research for the Guru. Because this is not a very intelligent Guru. He doesn't know how many types of apples there are. He doesn't know how many types of pears there are. All of you understand? So we have to find an eternal constitution that by knowing one thing, we must be able to know everything. We must find an eternal constitution by knowing one thing, we must be able to know everything. Is it possible? Is it possible by knowing one thing, we will be able to know everything? Is it possible? Not possible? Possible? Let's see, how many of you are wearing gold? Amen? Gold nose ring? Gold teeth? Tooth? Any other gold? Almost everyone is wearing something in gold. So when it is in Shaman's mouth, capping her tooth, it is called gold tooth. When it's on a nose, it's called nose ring. When it's on a neck, it's called necklace. When it's on wherever finger, it's called wedding ring. When it's around your wrist, it's called bangle. Chain, bangle. Dave? Guru going to make you so rich, you're going to wear that thick collet. After you wear your t-shirt, Ice Cube is not here today. Ice Cube and family is not here. I would have made Roche wear thick collates, all right? But if you take all these things and you melt it, it becomes one lump of gold. So by knowing one thing, you will know all its manifestations. Yes or no? One lump of gold manifested as an earring, nose ring, tooth, chain. Some people very wealthy, glasses, the frame for their glasses, isn't? Yes. By knowing gold, you will know all its manifestation, and by knowing its manifestations, and if you trace it backward, it will come back to gold. Similarly, if you look at all this that has been created, and if you trace creation backwards, it should lead to the substance of the creator. Yes or no? So can you see the unification principle in the creator and the created? So I'm going to endeavor to show you that at creation, when this universe is created, God does not put his trademark. He just creates variety. He just creates variety. No trademark on his variety. And when everything is reabsorbed into God, then all varieties are lost. And it just becomes one singular substance. This has been stated theoretically since years and years. But it is our duty at the Sri Narayan Dham to practically show you this unifying principle and how it exists in every human being. And if we are successful in this endeavor, then we won't be seeing these postings of rivalry in the Abrahamic religions, rivalry in Sanatan Dharma itself. We won't see different philosophies, and we won't see religious bickering and religious warfare, because all that will become insignificant if you understand that there is only one unifying principle that is a common thread through every living entity. But to do that, we need to find knowledge. We have to find ancient knowledge at the time of creation that corroborates what the Guru has stated today. If we find that knowledge and we bring it and expound it, then that knowledge will be the supreme science of this universe. Yes or no? So we need to find a system of knowledge that comprehensively describes this universe, both practically and spiritually. We need to find a knowledge, a system of knowledge where the speed of light is given. We need to find at creation. We don't want to find the speed of light somewhere there on our own. The Creator created light, and He must be able to give us the speed of light. Don't you think? He must be able to give us the distances from the earth to the moon, from the earth to the sun, from the earth to the various planetary system. He must be able to give us the diameter of this universe. Yes? Why? Because He created it. If we find that knowledge somewhere, then we have to accept it as an absolute truth, as how we take science after they do the experimentation as absolute truth. All of you understand? So now we're going to start discovering this knowledge together. We're going to take a deep dive into the domain of the Supreme Lord and invoke Him to reveal this knowledge to us. All of you understand? And when this knowledge is revealed, certain aspects of it will be corroborated by material science itself, because we are so trained that if material science does not corroborate, or if material science corroborates, then it is true. Yes or no? This is how we are trained. So this is going to be a very, very long journey, Jai Bhai. At the end of this journey, whoever takes this journey diligently, the end of this journey will be in the Lord's lap. It does not matter from which religion you come. It does not matter from which culture you come. It does not matter what your race is or what your creed is. Those of you that jump on this rocket, we want to call it a rocket because Guru don't fly at low speeds. Guru don't fly 35,000 feet above the air. Guru is in a rocket and Guru moves, and those who cannot sustain the regulative principles of the rocket, Guru opens the small window there and throw them outside. Rocket cannot be stopped for anybody. I'm not going to come back and pick you up, I'll meet you in another lifetime when I'm taking the next rocket up. Alright? So before you go bananas, go research apples, pears, and bananas. Are there any questions? Any questions? Amita, any questions? Siddharth, any questions? That's a question. Jaibai, any questions? Khatija, any questions? Don't go home and forget this discourse. Those of you that have capacity, either listen to it again or read it. We've given you two options. This discourse, Amita and her team, Jessica, Khatija, they spend many hours, I think about 5 hours collectively, 5 or 4 hours collectively, just to transcribe this 1 hour discourse. If you can't, do not have data to hear me, or you don't like how I look, to see me, then hear me. You have no option. You can either see me or hear me. Then read, or you can read this discourse. Read this discourse until you understand it. Whilst you're reading it, take out your pen and come with some questions. If there are 2 or 3 questions, then it will make this discourse very interactive, because I have a particular way of presenting this discourse, and you can catch me off guard by asking a question which will help you, me, and millions of others in the future. So do not think that your question is simple or irrelevant. As soon as that question pertains to you, it means God wants you to ask the Guru that question. Like how Arjuna asked Lord Sri Krishna many questions, he didn't ask it for himself. He was learned and revealed. He asked it for mankind. All of you understand? Any questions? Dave? Is somebody's birthday?
No, it's secret.
Okay, all right. How kind of you, just out of the blues to bring some sweetmeats. How sweet of you. Are there any questions? One more time, Vasudeva, anyone? Okay, we'll do Aarti.